Hey class, today we are working on trying to complete the square when your leading coefficient, that's your a value again, is something other than 1. In this procedure, it takes a little bit more work, a little bit more effort to finish the problem off, but hopefully with this extra tutorial, it'll help you revise what your thoughts are. So to start off with, here we have our typical quadratic, 2x squared minus 8x plus 5 equals 0. The starting process, just like we always did, is making sure that we keep just the x terms, so that's the 2x squared and the negative 8x, on the left side of the equation. That plus 5 doesn't belong over there, so we got to get that over on the right side. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that we subtract 5 to both sides of our equation, so we end up with a 2x squared minus 8x equals negative 5. Perfect. All right, from here, the thing that's a little different is the fact that our leading coefficient is 2 and not 1. We want to try to make it a 2 because that's the process that we know how to use. So what we want to do is try to take that 2 and we want to try to factor it out of that x squared part. But if we do that, we also want to make sure we try to take a 2 and factor it out from the 8. So it's a factoring approach. So we end up with 2 times by the quantity. When we take 2x squared and divide it by 2, we just end up with an x squared. If I went through and multiplied 2 times x squared, I get 2x squared like what I started with. Same process that I have to work with over here with the minus 8. So if I divide out the 2 from the minus 8, I actually end up with a minus 4. And there's still an x there, so I have to keep the x there. If I check that and take the 2 and multiply it to negative 4x, I would end up with a negative 8x. I can complete the quantity and say it's still equal to negative 5. Notice I'm not doing any distributing or any factoring to the negative 5. All right, from here I want to complete the square. And the way I do that, just like what I've always done, we'll pick blue here, is I'll take that negative 4, that b value, and I will divide it by 2, and I'll end up with negative 2. Then I take that negative 2, square it, and I end up with positive 4. So I have to, in order to complete the square, I have to add 4 to that side. But if I add 4 over here, something's not going to be right. Because if you notice, that plus 4 is inside of the parentheses. So I'm not really technically adding 4. I'm really adding 4 times 2. So I don't want to add 4 over there. I actually want to add, you guys guessed it, 8. So I want to make sure I add 8 there. All right, so if I keep going with my problem, get some more space here, I can clean this up a little bit. 2's still hanging out on the outside. All right, now that I have in the parentheses a perfect square trinomial, I can kind of condense that down and say this is x minus 2 squared is equal to, in the right side, I just go through and I add the negative 5 and the positive 8, and I get a positive 3. So it's all set to go. I can now use this for vertex form in a quadratic, and I have completed the square when my leading coefficient is something other than 1. All right, something else to try. Next problem over here. I'm not going to solve it, but you can rewatch this tutorial as many times as you need to. But here's another problem. I want you to write that one down on your paper, give it a try, pause this video, solve it out, and you can see if you get it right or wrong. All right, so go ahead, 3x squared plus 18x minus 4 equals 0. Go ahead and pause now. All right, so hopefully you've got it all solved. Let's see how you did. We'll check it out. Our final answer that we've got will go in green here. Hopefully you've got the 3, it's factored out. All right, x plus, and this turned out to be 3 squared is equal to, big reveal, 31. Awesome. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them down or shoot them my way, and I will be more than happy to help you out. Rewatch this as many times as you need to until it all starts sinking in. I'll talk to you next time. See ya.